Okay, great. Perfect.
Yeah, and actually, like you were taking my name yesterday. I was in the cab actually traveling, so I couldn't. I was joined through the phone, so
Okay,
I didn't do the practice yesterday. I did it today.
okay.
So yeah,
Make sure you do that, Abdul. Okay. Yeah.
yeah, I did it today. I created
Okay.
everything like.
Okay. Good. Good. Okay, I think we're on time. Let's get started, guys. Right? Let me share my screen. So from today, we'll start the foundation setup altogether. Right? So we'll study procurement foundation setup, just how we studied the corresponding inventory management foundation setup, right? Now, before going off creating any orders into the system, right, it's very much important to understand, okay, what are the foundation setup related to procurement, correct? Let's go line by line. So the first setup which comes into your practice is known as your procurement agent, guys. Okay. Now, do remember we call it as procurement agent. At the same time, we call it as buyer also, right? Now, you saw one party which was their supplier. The next party which will be there is which will be buyer, right? Who will be purchasing this item, correct? So obviously, who can purchase this item? That also you have to set up in the system, correct? So whenever you hear the wording procurement agent, right, or where you hear the wording buyer, do remember both are the same thing altogether. They are not different. Either you call it as procurement agent or either you call it as buyer, right? Do remember in Oracle Fusion, we follow the terminology of procurement agent, right? But in EBS, we follow the terminology of buyer, correct? So if in cloud interviews, you are hearing the word, how do you configure procurement agent? It is nothing but the interviewer is asking, how do you configure the buyer in the system, correct? Buyer is also one of the key player in your purchasing, right? As supplier is one of the key player, your procurement agent is also a key player, right? So now, as you are doing in cloud terminology, right? Get familiar with the wording of cloud, right? So always speak it in cloud terminology. See it as procurement agent, right? So I'll be using the wording procurement agent itself, guys, in the cloud, right? So how to configure procurement agent in the system, right? Go to setup and maintenance, right? Now we are starting with all the foundation setups which are there, correct? Now go to our module procurement, correct? Scroll down. There will be a section which will be there is procurement foundation. Click on this. Let's go line by line. First, procurement agent. So procurement agent is nothing but the buyer in the system, and he will be basically an employee in the company altogether, right? Now, what type of access you want to give it a buyer, right? That will be very much important. Also, it can happen, let's say you have multiple business unit, you have Australian business unit, you have Singapore business unit, right? It can happen that I'll be the buyer only for Singapore business unit, right? Neha will be the buyer for Australia business unit. So what will happen is, right, only the purchase order agreements or requisition which are created in Singapore, right? I'll be only able to access them. Similarly, right, Neha will be only able to access which are related to Australia one, right? So here, if you see, your agent are always associated with your procurement BU, which is there, right? BU creation, we already know in the system. Manage business unit. How do we create the BU in the system? Basically, you're associating your agent to a specific BU. It's not like that one agent to one BU. You can associate one agent to multiple BU also. That means, let's say I am the buyer, right? I can be associated to Singapore business unit also. I can be associated to Australian business unit also. In that case, right, I can create the purchase order requisition agreement related to Singapore also, related to your corresponding Australian business unit also, right? Both of the cases are possible. But it's very much important, right? It's a basic rule that you associate your agent to your specific business unit. And that is needed, right? Think logically, right? Because what will happen is, right, your individual unit which you create, right, will be associated with your individual agent which are there. Multiple agent may reside in your single business unit also. That is also possible. How do you create it up, guys? All you need to do is click on this plus sign. Now, as soon as you click on this plus sign, you are navigated to your procurement agent screen. Let's create one agent altogether. So let me choose Fin, right? One of the business unit I'm choosing, guys. Fin SVS US business unit, right? Even you can choose US one also, right? All you have to do is just type US one. Any unit you can choose, right? Multiple business units are there. Now what I'm doing is, right, there's a person in the system, Brown, which is there, right? Cindy Brown, right? I'm basically creating Cindy Brown as an agent in the system. Do remember, if this agent would have been already created, Oracle would have given me an issue that, okay, no, this agent has been already associated with this business unit. Right now, why it is allowing me is because, right, this agent is not created in the system as a particular a view associated agent, right? Right. So it's allowing me to do that. Point to remember here, guys, is you search your agent by your last name, comma, first name, right? Do remember. If you do not remember the last name or first name, right, you can do a search on this magnifying glass also. Give the complete name details, right? Or either you know his job, you know his email address, you know his phone number, right? That way also you can search, right? Also, if you know his designation, let's say if you want to search a CEO, right, want to give him as a procurement agent access, right? That also you can do. But do remember, Oracle follows a culture of last name, comma, space, first name, which is there, correct? As you scroll down, right, here is a place where you'll give the agent access, right? So either a agent might have three types of access, which is there, right? Ideally, there are four. Let's study all of them, right? These are nothing but none, view, modify, full, right? By the word, it is clear. None means is no access. So it's, if you see right now, right, all the access are none. That means if I click on save button, this particular person, Cindy Brown, will get no access to requisition, purchase order, purchase agreement, negotiation. Neither of the page will be accessible to this particular person, right? Do remember that. If you give none access, if you give, right, let's take an example. If you give full access, right, what does it means is, right, he will give complete access. He can create purchase order, he can edit purchase order, he can cancel the purchase order. Full access will be given, right? And if you see, access is individual. If you have separate access for purchase order, you have separate access for requisition, you have separate access for agreement. So basically on this page, you are deciding the access, what access this particular agent will be getting altogether. What will be the access related to your negotiation, what will be the access related to your sourcing, right? You'll be basically deciding it here, correct? So it's up to the user, right, how they want to have it up. Modify means is, right, he will only get an access to modify the existing purchase order requisition which are there, right? But he cannot create a new one. That is just mean, let's say Shreyas has a full access, right? I only have modify access, right? So I cannot go into the system and create a new purchase order altogether. I can only modify the existing purchase order which are there. But if Shreyas has full access, right, he can modify also, cancel also, view also, right, create also. Anything he can do, right? Full access means his complete access will be there, right? And the third one which comes as your view one, right? By the word, it is clear. View means is, right, I can only view the purchase order or corresponding requisition in the system, right? View means is I can only just see them, right? I cannot edit anything, I cannot delete anything, I cannot cancel anything, neither I can create anything. Not at all possible, right? Always remember, this information will be provided with your client altogether, right? What access has to be given to what person, right? I will not decide on client's behalf, right? They will decide, okay, this is our company culture, right? In this company, right, Cindy Brown has complete access altogether. It may happen that Cassie Brown have few access altogether, right? So this is something which you have to take it from your client, right? Client will provide you this information, correct? For time being, what we'll do is we'll give full access to this user, Cindy Brown, right? And it's up to you, right, what access you want to give it up, correct? Now, if I'm giving full access, that means this person will get full access of the entire screen which will be there, and he can access all the screens which are there: purchase agreement, requisition, agreement, negotiation, right? That will be very much important. So here what I'm doing is giving Cindy Brown as full access, and all you need to do is click on save button. So what it will do is it will associate this particular agent. If you see right now, as soon as I click on save button, my agent name has been taken away. That means, right, now once again, no other user can come here, start creating agent Cindy Brown and associating it to US1 business unit, right? That will not be possible, right? Because this association is already done, right? Let me show you that also. If you click on save and close, let's come back to the screen. Once again, let's say if I try Brown, US1, view, combination of procurement business unit and agent must be unique, because already you have given this combination is already been existing in the system, right? So you cannot create with the same name once again. But if I want to associate Cindy Brown with different business unit, let's say if I want to associate with her Fin business unit, right, I can do that. This combination will be allowed altogether and it will not give me any issues. Reason is, right, this is a unique combination. You see this, once again save is allowed. So do remember, the combination of procurement view and your agent should be unique in the system, right? You cannot configure them same combination again and again, right? That's an issue, and that's a by far a correct thing also. Second point is, right, there's one issue also in the screen, right, which is very much important for your understanding in Oracle Fusion, right? Now if you see few agent 5, 10, 15, right, it is easy to configure, right? I can directly do that. Imagine there are 500, 600 agent, right? You cannot resist a client, right? That okay, you need to have only 200, 300 client which can be configured, nothing like that, right? Imagine if your corresponding client has 500, 600 employees which has to be configured as an agent, right? In that case, right, the screen fails a lot, right? There's no upload functionality. Also, do remember there's no upload functionality of procurement agent direct upload which is there, right? There's no FBDI also available for this. That's a bigger disadvantage which is there, right? Yes, still Oracle is working on this, right? Think over it, right? Configuring one agent, two agent, three agent, right? It's quite a easy activity for me, right? I can do it in seconds, right? But imagine if there are 400, 500 agents which are there, which I have to configure, right? It becomes some bigger challenge altogether. And that's a disadvantage for sure, right? And mention this in your interviews also, so that it will be a very good impression on your interviewer also. Okay, this person knows about it, right? Right now, if you see, there's no upload functionality here, right? Ideally, Oracle should have given the upload functionality, right? Imagine there would be 500, 600, right? How much it will be a cumbersome activity for me, right? It will take me 2 days or 3 days to complete the activity, right? If I'm working 3 hours, 4 hours altogether, right? Obviously this becomes a bigger challenge. Right now also, how do we tackle it out in a real project is, right, we do a divide and conquer. That means, let's say if we are 9 people, we divide it in the team, 100 hundreds are divided, and we configure it accordingly into the system. Do remember, at max you can have 600 or 700 agent will be there. I've never seen a company having 9 lakh agent, 8 lakh agent, 7 lakh agent. That will never happen, right? Because if you see in your IT company also, there's a specific IT department, right, which purchase the item for your company. It's not like every employee is purchasing the item for the company, no, right? Let's say if you want to issue a laptop, you never issue a laptop to Dell, go there, right? There's a IT section in your company, right? IT department is there which takes care of all this thing, right? That becomes very much important, guys. So point to note here is, right, do remember, right, right now Oracle does not have any upload functionality for your procurement agent, and that's a disadvantage for sure. It's a disadvantage, but moving future there is a plan, they will come with upload functionality of FBDI also available for this. But right now it is a manual configuration. So this is how you create your agent in the system. Let's study the next setup which comes to our practice, correct? That is nothing but your payment term which is there. Now by the word it is clear, right? Payment term, right? Now let's say if you have created a purchase order, or let's say you created a requisition, correct? Now what happens is, how you're expecting the payment from a particular person. Now it may happen that I can ask the payment in interval. Let's say I can ask the payment in net 40 days, net 30 days, net 120 days. Let's say net 120, if I say, that means, right, I will give you 4 months, right? Within this 4 month, you can give me in 1 month partial money, second one partial money, third one partial money. This is just like you are paying a no cost EMI altogether. Let's say if I purchase a 33,000 phone, right? Now I have gone with your EMI option, which is no cost EMI, right? First month I have to pay 11,000, then second month 11,000, then third month 11,000, right? This is nothing but your partial payment which is happening, right? Same thing can be done here also, right? Whenever you create a purchase order, requisition, agreement, right, you can decide, okay, what will be your payment term which will be there, right? It's dependent upon client to client, guys, right? Also it depends upon your corresponding supplier to supplier, right? How the payment is expected. Immediate payment means is, right, I have to give a single go, right? Payment has to be done. Also this is very common thing which you see in your construction industry also, right? Under construction building, you never pay the entire money itself, right? You pay the money based on the construction which is done. Let's say two slabs have been constructed, now I'll pay the money accordingly, right? Then the disbursement happen from your home loan, or let's say anything if you have the money right now available, right? Point to note, this is nothing but your payment term, right? How you're requesting the payment. How do you set up it in the system? You see this manage payment term, click on this. Now there are many payment terms in the system, right? Let's create a new one. So I'll create with the payment term as net 120, correct? And same thing, you can give a discount to your client also, right? Let's say if I go with this culture, right? Right. Let's take a very good typical example is, right? Now I am expecting the payment to come in net 120 days. Okay. Or let's say just a random example I'm taking, right? Net 30 days. I'm expecting the payment. Now, why what my concept is, right? I want you to pay in first 10 days, right? 50% of the money should be paid by you, correct? Now, remaining 10 days, right? The next 10 days, you have to pay me 25% money, correct? and remaining 10 days you have to pay me 25% money, right? This is my deal which is there altogether, right? Supplier payment term is nothing but which is coming as net 30, right? So what is happening here is a deal has been getting signed, right? Okay, net 30, that means in 30 days I have to refund you the complete, or I have to give you the complete money. Initial 10 days I have to give you 50% of the money. Next 10 days I have to give you 25% of the money, and final 10 days I have to give you 25% of the money. This way, I'll be completing the complete purchase order amount which I have to be given to you. Correct? That is the thing. Now, here I have a discount culture also. What I mean to say here is, right? If in the first lot, let's say this one, just give me a minute. If in this first lot, if you are paying me the money in 1 to 5 days, I'll give you 2% discount, right? Similarly, if you are paying the money to 6 to 10 days, I'll give you 4% discount. Point to note here, what is happening is, right, based on the interval which is there, right, you are deciding, okay, how much money has to be paid and how much discount will be applied. Similarly, right, in the next 10 day slot, right, if you are paying me the money from 11 to 14 days, right, I'll be giving you 3% discount, right? If you see, it is completely up to me how I want to set it up, right? 15 to 20 days, if you are giving me the money, right, I'll give you 4% discount, right? Ideally, this should be reverse. This should be 4% and this should be less, correct? Because more quickly you are giving me the money, right? I will be much happier, correct? So what is my request here is, right, more quickly you give me the money, right? That much discount I'll be giving it up, right? This is same thing which you see with your builders also, right? They try to fetch the money much quickly from you, right? In that case, what they say is, sir, if you give me the payment within 10 days itself, right? In the initial 10 days itself, you go with the 50 or 70% of your payment, right? I'll give you 5% discount, 6% discount, which will be given, right? Same thing happens here also. So if you see, right, based on your purchase order, right, which is there, or any order which you'll create, respectively, right, it's, let's say, on your requisition, you are creating a similar purchase order out of it, right? Or from an agreement, you are creating a purchase order, right? In that case, right, you are following a net 30 payment term, and you are asking a partial payment to happen, right? In three slots, you are asking the payment. First 50% pay the money, then 25%, then 25%. And accordingly, right, you are asking the discount which will be there, right? If you are paying the money, right, the 50% money which has to be paid by you, if you are paying within the 5 days itself, initial 5 days, I'll give you 4% discount. And if you are paying in the eighth day, ninth day, I'll give you only 2% discount, right? That type of culture can also happen in cloud. How do you do this? Let's check it out. So let's say I'll give it net 120, right? Now, how many installments you want to have? Now, either you can ask the money in single go itself, that means net 120 at the end of 120 days, right? Give me the complete money. It's not like that you give me the partial money first, then partial money. That can also happen. Or you can ask the partial money, right? Let's say here I want to ask 50% first, right? Then I want to ask 25%, and then remaining I want to have 25%, right? As you see, right, as I'm adding the row, right, at the bottom also discount rows are getting added, right? So you can have multiple stages discount also. That is also possible, guys, right? Now here, if you see, there are two possibility, right? Either you go with amount due, or either you go with your fixed amount which will be there, right? Percentage which will be there, right? Now what happens is, generally we go with percentage, because I cannot fix now what will be the purchase order altogether, right? It may happen that the builder might sell a flat to a particular customer, right? One flat, same price which is there, right? I negotiated a lot, right? So my price is 1 lakh, sorry, it's, let's say, 1 cr 14 lakh which is there, right? Shares also purchased the flat, right? But he did not negotiate it much, right? So he's getting the similar flat, right? Same carpet area, entire anything the same, right? 1 cr 16 lakh, right? So if you see, I am saving 2 lakhs rupees altogether. Point to note here, what is happening is, right, either you can go with due percentage, or either you can go with amount due, right? But generally we never go with amount due, because we cannot never fix that what will be the purchase order amount altogether, right? If you're going with purchase order amount, right, which will be fixed, let's say every time you know that this will be 25,000, right? Then you can go with amount due also, right? But better option is to always go with your due percentage, right? Because if you're using net 120 on a particular purchase order, you can decide altogether, right, what will be the percentage which will be filled. That's a very key point to notice. And here is
So
your
Varun, we are the persons here
Mhm.
making the payment, right? We'll be the person who will be paying to the buyer.
Obviously, right? No, buyer will be
Yeah.
paying to the supplier, no? Why will you pay to the buyer?
Like this buyer setup which we are making. So for this is for us, or like for? whom actually that I
For
had
a
a doubt.
client, you will make it up, no?
Okay,
Yeah.
okay,
So,
okay.
so here, if you see, guys, what will happen is, right, 50%, 25%, 25%, right? Here you can specify the day, right? Let's say I can say in this way that I'm expecting the first 50% payment in your 30 days, right? Or let's say 40 days, I'll give it up, right? Next 25 days, 40%, and next 45%, the last which is there, right? Point to note here is what is happening is, right, you are dividing it up. Do remember there's nothing like that. It has to be equally divided up to you, right? You can ask 75% first, then 25% remaining one. That is up to you, for sure, up to you, right? This is my culture, which I've used here, right? Where I've divided it into three parts, right? You can divide it into points also. 25.5% payment I read here, right? Then you want 31% payment here, that also is up to you, right? So this is something which is individual, right? How they want to have it up. And similarly, you can give a discount also, guys, here, right? Let's say if I want to have 10% discount initially, right, for the 10 days which is there, right, that is there. Similarly, if you want to have 5% discount after the remaining 20 days, right, that you can do. Make sure you give the discount altogether, right? It's not a rule that you need to have discount at each stages, right? But if you are giving the discount, right, make sure you have days mentioned with that, right? Because interval is decided on that. Also, you can have multiple layer discount also, right? Let's say in this 10 days also, right, if I wanted to split it further way, right, first to 5 days 10% discount, then 6 to 10 days, right, 3% discount. You can decide it up, right? It's completely up to you, right? And according your payment schedule will be going with the supplier altogether, because as a buyer you will be paying the money to the supplier, right? Now this buyer will have this option available altogether, right? How the payment has to be taken forward, correct? That's a very key point to understand. And this is how you configure your payment terms in the system, guys, right? Multiple payment terms are there, right? It's not like that one payment term will be only used on a sale, a particular purchase order, right? It can happen for one purchase order you are using one payment term, other purchase order you are using a different payment term, right? So both the cases are possible. Now once your payment terms has been defined, next comes your shipping method which is there, right? How the shipment will be happening, right? A question arises, many question or doubt comes into your many student mind is, right, ideally shipping method should be decided by supplier. No, nothing like that, right? You can also decide the shipping method on the behalf of supplier. That is also possible, guys. This happens through your managed carrier which is there, right? Why this is an option available is because I'll be paying the money accordingly to the supplier, right? Let's say if he's transporting my goods through air altogether, right, obviously the charges will be more. But if he's transporting my goods through rail or bus which is there, right, the charges will be less, right? So I can also decide on the runtime what will be the shipping method will be which will be used by your supplier. And this happens to your managed carriers which is there, right? So if you see there's a task managed carrier, but before going to managed carrier, right, you have to set up two lookups in the system, right? This lookups get set in your managed carrier lookups. How do we set it up? Let's check it out. The two lookups name is, one is known as your service level and other one is known as your mode of transport. Let me write it down here, guys. Do remember, right, this will be definitely asked in your, not in interview but in your certification examination, right? Serial, sorry, not serial, this is service level, and other one is known as your mode of transport, right? Now, why Oracle has given this lookup as a in a lookup format is, reason is, right, every company follows their own culture. Let's say if I am a shipping company, I have this type of culture, big lorry, small lorry, right? Or let's say miniature, right? Tata Magic, this type of culture I will need to follow, right? It's up to me, right? What is the mode of transport which I want to have, right? As a shipping company, how is my classification? Let's say I do the shipment through bus also, right? Through air also, through rail also, right? Different type is there, right? If you want fast delivery, I can do with air, right? That will be the corresponding mode of transport which will be used. If you want to do the delivery, right, I can do it based on your let's say this thing also, right, by rail also. Bus also I have, right? If you need a private particular vehicle which is required for your delivery purpose, that also I can do, right? If you see, this is same thing which your movers and packers also do, right? They will give you different branding altogether, right? Let's say if you want to have a combined shipping happen, let's say mine item also as well as Shreyas items are also getting transported in single lorry, right? Then it is a shared which is there, right? This is just like a shared cab which you go, right? In your shared cab, what happens is money gets reduced, right? But if you am booking personal cab altogether, obviously the charges will be there, right? So every company has their own service level and mode of transport culture which is there, right? That's why Oracle has provided this in your lookup format, right? What is your culture, right? Configure it accordingly and you can use it on a sales order, correct? How do you do this, right? There's a lookup here which is having a name as WSH service. Let me search it for you. Give it a minute. Just give me a minute, guys. So this is the lookup name, WSS service level. Do remember this lookup, guys, because this will be 100% required in your corresponding when you go to client project, right? Because you have to configure this, right? If you are using a purchase order procurement cycle, obviously, right, carrier will be the most important part of it, right? So you have to configure this, right? So this is your WSH service level, which is there. See the description also. Option used to specify the service level used for carriers, right? What is the service level which will be used? If you scroll down, right, there are different types of service level. Let's say in my particular courier company, I follow 2 days culture altogether. That means any order which you give, right, if you want to give it parcel to any city, right, we'll take 2 days and we'll get your parcel delivered, right? So 2 days culture is follow. Let's say if my company follow three types of brand altogether, right? 2 days delivery, 3 days delivery, normal delivery, right? In normal delivery it is not fixed, right, how many days it will take, right? It will depend upon the transportation. 3 days delivery will be your immediate delivery, little bit immediate delivery altogether, right? It will be going by rail. 2 days delivery is by a flight delivery altogether. That means today itself, right, the flight will be going it up, right, and by tomorrow, right, the particular person at the ending site will get the item delivered. So it's up to your company culture how they want to have it up and what service level you provide, right? If you go to D2DC Blue Dart, right, they have different services level option which is available. That guy will ask you, sir, do you need a immediate delivery, express delivery if you need, right? Similarly, if you need a normal delivery, obviously the charges of express delivery will be higher, normal delivery charges will be little less, guys, correct, right? Same thing is happening here also. You can decide your service level which is there. So let's say if I go with this culture, I'll click on this plus sign, right? 1 day delivery, right? 1 TA, giving the lookup as a code, right? Start date is today's date, or we can give it anything and give your meaning, right? 1 day delivery, 1 day delivery service, right? So I'm a courier company, right? I follow 1 day delivery service altogether. Today itself, right, I can get it delivered, right? Now this is one follow which I can follow. Second thing is I can follow this way also. I'll click on plus sign once again. It is already there. Let me follow this, right? So first what I'll do is I'll click on save button so that I do not miss the detail, and it will save my lookup code which is there, right? Now I want to create one more service level, that is ND, which I am saying is normal delivery altogether, right? So do remember, this is why Oracle is given as a lookup is because it is something which is internal to a company, how they want to have it up, right? Normal delivery altogether of normal delivery service. In this case, right, it's not a express delivery, right? That means I cannot guarantee you that I'll give you the item today itself. It might take 3 days, 4 days, right? Accordingly, right? The normal delivery will be happening. This is something which you see with your VFS Global also, the company of Visa, which is there, right? When you do with your visa appointment, right? Obviously, it will go to your visa officer, right? For your complete thing, right? Complete process will be starting, right? Now, how do you want your passport back, right? Do you want an express delivery? Do you want a tracking delivery? Do you want a normal delivery to happen, right? That is also your service level which is provided with your company, right? VFS Global, many companies are there in the market. And click on save and close. So this way you created your service level. Similarly, you can create your transport level also, mode of transport. So just search it, right? It is
Varun, so
Hmm?
this is already created, or you're just giving it in search, right?
No, I'm creating it up. Huh?
Where?
Lookup is created, but
Ah,
values I have to create it up.
Lookup is already created,
Huh?
na?
This is by default provided by Oracle. Correct.
It's provided by Oracle itself. Okay.
Correct. So this is a lookup name, guys. WSH mode of transport. Do remember these two lookups because these are the most important one required for your carriers. Okay, transport, which is there, right? WSH service level. Another one is WSH mode of transport, right? Now, if you see the wording also, mode of transport that is used to define the transit time, right? What will be the mode of transport which will be using? By air you are going, by flight, or sorry, by rail, by let's say by lorry, by let's say Tata Magic, anything you can define it up. So let's say, right, I define one here. I click on this plus sign. I'm deciding small lorry altogether. I have different types of lorries altogether. I have different types of trucks which are there, right? different types of trucks. A big truck also have, small trucks also have, right? I have this classification as a carrier, right? So I'm having a small lorry also. So if let's say only few items has to be transported, why to bring a big truck altogether? I can transport the good in small lorry itself. I'll save my power altogether, correct? So even company have this classification, and that's very much important, correct? I created one small lorry, right? And all you need to do is click on save and close, right? So your carrier lookups have been created. Do remember this two lookup type, lookup name, which are there: WSH service level and WSH mode of transport, right? Now once your lookup has been set up, you're good to go ahead and set up the carriers in the system. So click on manage carriers, right? Now what method I want to use is, right, let's say I'm saying that small lorry 1 day delivery, right? 1 day delivery. So if it's within the city, right, I can do a 1 day delivery itself, right? And it will be happening through your carrier method, which will be small lorry. Now, how will you add the details? First, save the name, carrier name. So as soon as you click on save button, this plus sign will get enabled. Click on this plus sign. So we have just now given the service level, right? That will be visible here. So you see this 1 day delivery service, which I have just created, is visible here. Click on this, right? All of them which you saw in the lookups are there, correct? So you can choose it accordingly. I created this one, and I have created small lorry as my mode of transport, right? So I'm choosing my details, and you're associating it here, right? So here what is happening is your mode of transport and what service level you are using, right, is getting associated. You can give the driver information also, guys. This can happen in your contact details. Let's say I'm fixing, okay, whenever this will be a small lorry which is transporting the good, right, this XYZ person will be my driver altogether. So you can give the driver information also, where you can give this is your contact person which is there, correct? Do remember this contact person might be driver also at the same time, an executive also, right? When I say executive, what happens is, let's say I am running a company, right? I've decided, okay, Shreyas will be taking care of all the city orders which are there, right? I've designed this executive as a person, right? So let's say if you are the customer, if you are facing any issue, do not call me, call Shreyas altogether, right? So you have assigned a contact person there, right? This is just like whenever, let's say, Amazon is delivering some item to you, right? You get a message beforehand itself, right? This delivery executive, a number is given to you, right? Will be delivering you the order. Anywhere you're facing the issue, you can call on this number, right? Same thing will happen here also. You're deciding a contact person, which might be driver also of the lorry. At the same time, he might be a specific design person also, right? Many times it happens, right? If you get a post from India, sorry, if you are transferring the item from your India post altogether, right? You get a notification, executive this will be delivering you the item. This is his contact number, call him directly. Reason is, right, if you're facing any issues, why to contact the company, right? Call the directly the driver itself, right? So do remember, this contact person will not be an employee in the company. He can be anything, right? He can be driver, he can be executive, anyone altogether. How you'll add the details is, just click on this plus sign. Let's say just randomly I'm missing Ravi Prasad as one of the person. Sorry, this will be last name, right? So I need to add the person name here. Giving the phone number. Right now I'm just giving a random number, guys. Click on OK.